journey began in December 2010 at the age of 45. It's now been obviously 8 years since my diagnosis. I've been through 4 separate treatments in that time. I'm not sure I took it seriously enough in the sense of I was still more on the hope side of that I'm going to go 7 or 8 years, and by that time something else will be there. And it wasn't until I started relapsing after about 2.5 years after my first treatment, that I understood that what chronic truly meant. Currently, bone marrow transplants are the only possible way one can be cured of CLL, and only it's just impossible. Especially through chemo, that initial one, you go head down and your game face is on, and you just try to get through treatment because that's the challenging part at that moment. And it's right after treatment you go, oh my God, like what's happened? What's happened right now? And I know that was one of my toughest times, was after my first chemo treatment. How do you, number one, accept the fact you're not the person you used to be, and also have your partner accept that fact? And then how do you work through that and find some sort of new normal? I think that's, and to be accepting of that new normal and not beat yourself up for it or not try to, fight it. It's in the acceptance that the freedom comes from, so.
And we kept little things, right? Like Mark always does for me every morning, or bring me a cup of coffee in the morning. I come out of my shower to get ready for work. And we sit and we chat for a little bit, and we've always done that. And even when he was at his worst, he continued every morning, and he had written about it too, and just how important it was to him to kind of keep some of to keep it somewhat normal in a world of just chaos.
It creates a lot of grief, and grief isn't just someone dying, it's loss. Our partnership kind of changing, that's a loss. There's a loss of control over your body, a loss of control over whether you live or die. There's a lot of things you have to give yourself over to.
I have to give up my fears, because if I don't, then I can't support Mark 100%. A lot of people often ask me, what would you do? And, if Mark was to pass, I have a very comforting understanding that I will be okay. I just don't know when I'll be okay. So that's the biggest support I think I can offer to Mark.
I think the most important thing is to become a partner with your healthcare team, to have some interest. I honestly believe that the more interest you show, the more interest they have in you. So taking some interest in your own disease and being able to sort of talk to it in some way, I think is a huge asset to how your treatment will go. I'm not saying that, if you don't show interest, you're not going to be treated well, but what I do believe is that having those conversations really kind of cements a relationship. And once again, people care more when they have a relationship with you than not, right? The concept is, so how do you maintain a dual thoughts at the same time, which is, I'm going to die, but I'm going to live every day with meaning. And how do you marry those two things? Because, you're told 6 months, you have 6 months to live. You have 2 options. You either roll up in a ball and those 6 months pass by and you just pass away without really doing much except suffering. Or you come to some acceptance and try to find some meaning in those 6 months and try to live whatever you can. There's the choice. How do you remove fear from your choices so you make good choices? Because we all think about the worst choices we ever made were based on fear. And if you can remove fear from your choices become so much healthier and better for you, and are more authentic. They're more authentic choices, because half our fears aren't even our fears. They're fears from other people who gave us those fears. So once again, how do you become an authentic person and sort of live what you have as opposed to worry about what you don't have?